Hello, everyone. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, your host of this book club, and it's Undo It by Dr. Ornish. This is the book club that I started 2 years ago, and we have read a lot of books. I hope that you go to my YouTube channel, Gustavo Tolosa, and look at the playlist with all the other book clubs. There's a wealth of information there. Plus, there's so much free material there. Go all the way down. You're going to see me attending the McDougall programs. You're going to see me interviewing Dr. McDougall in his home. You're going to see us travel to Hawaii, one of the McDougall adventures. You're going to see so many things. Okay. So please do that. When you go to my channel, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Click on the little notification bell. Give my videos a thumbs up. Write a comment. All that helps a lot. So I really appreciate it. Today, I am drinking from one of my favorite cups here. I'm having tea, chamomile tea with some orange, peach, cinnamon. I don't remember what else it has, but it's delicious. And I wanted to remind you, maybe some of you don't know that I have a program called Tea with Dr. T. It's kind of exclusive, so I don't promote it all the time, but I'd love for you guys to join it. Tea with Dr. T. That's how I'm known at school where I teach at the universities. And it's Tea with Dr. T every Tuesday afternoon. If you cannot watch live, you can watch the replay. And what we do is we just sit down, take 45 minutes to relax and visit, and have one rule, that is, we will talk about positive things in this world or in our lives. No negativity. I tell you stories that are more personal than what I share in these types of webinars. I sometimes play the piano. I sometimes cook. I tell you interesting information, etc. So it's a wonderful time. It's part of the Gustavo fan club. If you want to be part of that, send me an email at info@plantemus.com, PLANTEMUS, and I'll send you the link so you can register. And so I wanted to remind you also that next Sunday, after the book club, I'm going to be cooking, showing you the 4 or 5 recipes that are in this book for breakfast. It should be a lot of fun, and I'll give you some tips that maybe are not in the book, and you'll have at least 4 or 5 breakfasts you can have, and I'm gonna show you how to make them. Maybe one of them we can make together. I'll send you in the email the link. All you have to do is go to my YouTube channel on Sunday right after this program and sit tight there and wait, and we will do the cooking session. Okay, I'm also on Instagram under Plantemus. I'm on Facebook under Dr. Starch, and I would really appreciate you following me there. And if you are not in my email list, I don't send a lot of emails, so you won't get tons of emails from me, but I do send some that are very useful. And so if you're not in my email list, send me an email at the same email address, and I will put you in my email list. So today we're getting started here with page 34 and something that is called telomeres. Anybody knows what telomeres are? Very interesting thing. Okay, so we have someone who's called Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, who shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for her pioneer discoveries of telomeres. So basically, telomeres help in the aging process. It helps us to not age too fast. So Of course, we're not going to get to 100 looking like we're 18, but we don't want to get to 50 looking like we're 90. So telomeres are important, and we better have long telomeres, because short telomeres, it's bad news. Okay, so we also conducted the first control study showing that these lifestyle changes that you have here make telomeres longer. That's all you need to know. I mean, if you want to know more, go ahead and read 34, 35, and you'll get a little more detail. But Dr. Ornish says, after only 3 months on our lifestyle medicine program, we measured for the first time a 30% increase in telomeres, the enzyme that repairs and lengthens telomeres. That's a huge increase. Okay, so after 5 years, at the top of page 35, it says, after 5 years, average telomere length decreased in the control group, the group that was not following this um, um, program. It decreased by 3%. This is what usually happens to most people over time. The telomeres get shorter and they look older and older. However, for those in the lifestyle medicine group, telomere length actually increased. Instead of decreased by 3%, it increased by 10%. The Lancet Oncology editors, you know that Lancet is one of the most prestigious medical journals in the world. The Lancet Oncology editors described this as reversing aging at a cellular level. Oh my goodness. I mean, do you understand what this means? Reversing aging at the cellular level? Wow. The first controlled study documenting that any intervention could lengthen telomeres. Well, this alone is worth this session of book club number 3, session number 3. All right, so then he goes on to describe what microbiome is. And I don't know if you know, but it's a little shocking, like he says in the book. We have 100 trillion. I can't even imagine like a million, much less a trillion, much less 100 trillion organisms growing inside our bodies. Wow. And those 100 trillions are called microbiome. And this interesting thing is that these microbes are mostly not our own. My question is, whose are they? Okay, but most of these organisms come from somewhere else. Only about 10% of the residents microbes in our bodies are intrinsically ours. Instead of viewing these bacteria, viruses, and fungi as invaders that need to be killed with antibiotics and other drugs, what doctors often call the therapeutic armamentarium, using the language of warfare, scientists learn that these diverse organisms live in a symbiotic relationship with us. Basically, they get along with us when in balance, keep us healthy, and in a multitude of ways. Some of our best friends are germs. All right. On page 37, Dr. Ornish says, overuse of antibiotics cause harmful changes in your microbiome, since antibiotics kill the good microbes as well as harmful ones. It just antibiotics don't have that capacity of saying, okay, I'm going to kill these bad ones, but not this. No, it kills all of them. As well as increasing drug resistance. Just a single week-long course of antibiotics can change your gut microbe for a year. Wow, 1 week of taking antibiotics can change your microbiome for up to a year. It takes a year to recover that microbiome after all, just 1 week. That's why we have to be very careful and mindful about taking antibiotics, which, of course, besides taking them by mouth as pills or shots or whatever, remember that people who eat animals are eating them in every single meal because all of the meat that they eat, or I'm not going to say all because someone is going to say that there is somewhere a farm that doesn't use antibiotics. Okay, not all, but most of the meat being sold has antibiotics as well as other um, um, other things that we just don't need in our bodies, not to mention fat, cholesterol, and huge amounts of protein. But hormones is another thing that people ingest when they eat meat. So almost 80% of antibiotics sold in this country are fed to livestock. Just imagine all the antibiotics that are being sold in the United States. Only 20% go to people. 80% goes to livestock to make them grow faster so they can be slaughtered sooner. They're given to cows, pigs, and chickens to make them grow more quickly or as a cheap alternative to keeping them healthy. This causes drug resistance bacteria to emerge, and these bacteria can remain on meat and spread to humans. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, estimates that more than 400,000 U.S. residents become ill with infections caused by antibiotic resistant foodborne bacteria every year, and that about 1 to 5 resistant infections are caused by germs from food and animals. On page 38, he says it very simple. Dr. Ornish says, if you want to avoid these toxic residues, this is one more very good reason not to eat meat. Yes. It says, in short, a diet high in fat, animal protein, and refined carbohydrates increases oxidative stress. So do emotional stress, being sedentary, and being socially isolated. Antioxidants, as their name indicates, help to prevent oxidative stress. Many studies have shown that antioxidants that are naturally occurring in certain foods are much more effective than those in vitamins and supplements. Of course, yeah. Antioxidant-rich foods originate mostly from the plant kingdom, while meat, fish, and other foods from the animal kingdom are usually low in antioxidants and often high in oxidants. So the best way, like Dr. McDougall says, eat your vitamins, okay, in the food. It comes packaged in a perfect way with many other nutrients that need to be combined in the right proportions for the vitamins to be effective and to be absorbed. Don't take them in an isolated form. All right, so page 42. Angiogenesis. When tumors reach a certain size, they grow so quickly that they outgrow the blood supply of the organ they're invading. Because of this, tumors often secrete substances that stimulate new blood vessels to grow to feed the tumor. This process is called angiogenesis, which means growing new blood vessels. My colleagues and I conducted a randomized controlled trial of men with early stage prostate cancer who went through our lifestyle medicine program. As described earlier, we found that these lifestyle changes slowed, stopped, and even reversed the progression of their prostate cancer. So, for all of us men out there, another reason to eat a plant based diet is to avoid prostate cancer. On page 43, Dr. Ornish says most of the foods that beneficially affect angiogenesis are in the whole foods plant based category. These include berry, cruciferous vegetables, green tea, and spices. Please eat your berries, any kind of berry, blueberry, blackberries, raspberries, and have cruciferous kale, have let's see, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, Swiss chard. Eat those cruciferous vegetables. In other words, angiogenesis is yet another mechanism to explain why these same foods are so powerful in preventing and reversing so many chronic diseases. And here, excuse me, if you could taste this tea, I know you would want it. It's, oh, wow, it's delicious and it smells wonderful. All right, so on page 43, it says blood flow and stasis. When a river flows, the water is often clean, delicious, and pure. When it stagnates, the water can become foul, brackish, and polluted. The same is true with the flow of blood in your body, the river of life. Okay, so stasis occurs when your blood and other fluids are not flowing properly. This can lead to stagnation and illness. So it says here you can get better or worse from eating just one meal, depending on what you eat. It says that, so he's describing how after you eat an egg McMuffin or a sausage McMuffin and two hash brown patties, after only 4 hours, blood flow decreased by more than 50%. 50% decrease in blood flow after eating a greasy food that is not plant-based. But those that were consuming a plant-based low-fat meal, the blood flow kept going as normal. On page 45, at the very top, it says, when your heart doesn't receive enough blood flow to feed itself, then chest pain or angina occurs. In our research studies, people with severe heart disease who made the diet and lifestyle changes described in this book reported a 91% reduction in the frequency of chest pain after only a few days to a few weeks because the blood flow to the heart increased so quickly. Within a month, there was significant improvement in blood flow to the heart and in the ability of the heart to pump blood during exercise. So being sedentary, of course, enhances stasis and illness, because if you're sitting too long, the blood is not flowing as much. When you exercise, and it could be walking, for example, the muscles in your arms and legs help to squeeze blood through your veins. Now, here is what I would like for you to really remember. This is on page 45 in the middle, well, towards the end. Spending a lot of time sitting increases your risk of a stroke due to blood clot formation. According to some studies, it increases your risk of premature death from all causes as much as smoking does. That's why now sitting is is the old smoking. Okay, it's um, it's detrimental to our health. And nowadays, with computers and jobs that are more sedentary, that happens more and more. Sitting for more than 8 hours a day is associated with a 90% increased risk of type 2 diabetes. So if you sit for 8 hours, you are 90% more likely to get type 2 diabetes. Those who sit the most have a 147% increased relative risk of cardiovascular events compared to those who sit the least. The combination of both sitting more than 6 hours a day and being less physically active was associated with a 94% increase in all uh, cause premature death rates in women and 48% increase in men compared with those who reported sitting less than 3 hours a day and being most active. On page 46, it says that researchers recently found that sitting for several hours at a desk significantly reduces the blood flow. So I find this interesting here that at the bottom of page 46, it says that, let's see, it have, moving, moving around basically helps to get rid of toxins and waste and other unwanted materials in your body. On page 48, he says, in summary, our lifestyle medicine program can help you reverse and prevent a wide variety of the most common chronic disease because they share the same underlying mechanism. And somewhere in here, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Ornish says, if you have to sit for your work, get up every 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe every hour. Even if you walk around for a minute or two, that counts. That gets the blood flow going. So that is what that's what I do. I do spend a lot of time at the computer or at the piano practicing or rehearsing. So those are things that are in my daily life. But I do get up every 30 minutes to 45 minutes and I go to the yard. I do something for 20 minutes or I go upstairs or do something, I come back. I don't know, just move around. That was the end of chapter 2, and now we're starting chapter 3. And one of you is saying, what else? What tea are you enjoying? Well, this is a local tea that I bought here at the store, and it has um, cinnamon, chamomile, orange. I think it has peach. I don't have the label right now, but it is wonderful. If one is paralyzed, so sitting is the only option. Are there any other things to counter that risk? I wonder if paralyzed means that you cannot even move your even moving your leg up and down, like putting your foot on your toes and lifting your heel. Uh, that could count. I don't know how paralyzed the person is, but any movement, even this, even lifting your leg with your um, arm, things like that. So I don't know. I would have to know a little more about how paralyzed the person is. On chapter 3, it says lifestyle medicine is the most exciting movement today in health and healing, a revolutionary tidal wave that hasn't yet even begun to crest. You see it everywhere. After 40 years of research conducted in this area, there is now a growing awareness of the power of a simple lifestyle changes to prevent and reverse the progression of the most common chronic diseases, often without drug or surgery. And the only side effects are good ones. Okay, so on page 51, it says if it is reimbursable, it's sustainable. This is a problem that we've discussed a lot in private and in webinars with Dr. McDougall because, well, my tea is almost gone. Because the system is made so that you are, as a doctor, um, reimbursed for um, using prescription drugs and doing surgeries and things like that. You're not reimbursed for curing people with diet. So on page 51, the last three paragraphs, it says, then, as now, we achieved the bigger changes in lifestyle, better clinical outcomes, larger cost savings, and better adherence than had ever been documented. Unfortunately, however, because we did not have reimbursement from Medicare or most insurance companies at the time, several of these sites closed down our program. And the paragraph before, he's telling you about all these places where they run the program and it was extremely successful, but they closed it because they didn't get any reimbursement. I learned that no matter how much scientific research we published and no matter how significant our outcomes were, if it's not reimbursable, then it's not sustainable. And that is the saddest phrase, I think, in this whole book, that it doesn't matter if you're curing people and saving lives and reversing diseases, but hey, if it's not reimbursable, we can't sustain it. This is what motivated me to spend 16 years working with leaders of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to obtain Medicare reimbursement for our reversing heart disease program, as well as coverage from many private insurance companies, which my colleagues and I sincerely appreciate. On page 52, it says lifestyle medicine and heart disease. Lifestyle medicine is better than angioplasties and stents in treating most patients with stable coronary heart disease. A review of all 8 randomized controlled trials concluded that stents don't prevent heart attacks. This is known facts, everyone. Your doctor should know it. It's published in numerous journals. So they don't reduce the need for bypass surgery, and they don't prolong life in patients with stable coronary heart disease. Now, later on, that's not to say that these interventions don't save lives in certain cases of emergency. Like if you're having a heart attack right now, you want to get to the emergency room right now and get something done. You're not going to be eating a salad. So the thing is that the stable, like he says here, the stable, let's see where it's at, prolonged life mission with stable coronary heart disease. Let's talk about that. In contrast, when a coronary artery in your heart is only 30-40% blocked, it is more unstable because it's not calcified. Those arteries that are blocked and they have been blocked for a long time and they're calcified, they're stable. You don't want to touch them. The ones that are dangerous, that produce the heart attacks, are the ones that are unstable, the ones that are newer, the one that have that blister fresh that can burst any second. So it is more unstable because it is not calcified, and it has not had time to grow a protective network of collaterals. This is why these are called vulnerable plaques, because they are more likely to rupture and cause a sudden total obstruction known as catastrophic progression, which is as bad as it sounds. What causes the vulnerable plaques to rupture and block arteries? Well, not surprisingly, the usual suspects: inflammation, emotional stress, and diet, that is animal protein, sugar, saturated fat, sedentary lifestyle, smoking, stimulants such as cocaine and amphetamines, loneliness and depression, and other lifestyle factors. Each of these can cause your arteries to constrict. When this happens, the flow of blood is reduced. The heart may not receive enough blood to maintain itself. Also, the sudden constriction can cause rupture of vulnerable plaques, completely blocking the flow of blood. Stents are not usually placed in arteries that are only 30-40% blocked. Yet, these are the ones that are most likely to cause a heart attack or a stroke. A recent study found that even if only the most severe blockages were stented, there was still no reduction in heart attacks or premature deaths. At the bottom of page 54, it says, there is an important place for angioplasties and stents in someone who has unstable heart disease or who is in the middle or having a heart attack, in which case they can be life-saving. But the vast majority of stents and angioplastics have been performed in stable patients who do not benefit. So then on page 55, he goes on to talk about type 2 diabetes. And guys, I have a whole book club on diabetes with Dr. Neil Barnard. I think it's very good. Go and look at those videos. But I will just mention here on page 55 that this is overwhelming, really. Over half of the American population has type 2 diabetes. Over half. That means that every other person in the country has type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. And it costs $322 billion a year. Yet these conditions are completely preventable in most people. And not only that, they're reversible right now, at this very second. On page 56, he talks about lowering blood sugar with lifestyle medicine and many other things that you will be able to hear in the book club for diabetes. But on page 57, he says, statin drugs, you all know what statin drugs are, right? To lower cholesterol, such as Lipitor, may significantly increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So a diabetic who is taking statin drugs, or someone who's not diabetic taking statin drugs, has a higher chance of developing type 2 diabetes. One study showed that statin treatment increased the risk of type 2 diabetes by 46%. We're not talking about a half percent or a fourth of a percent. We're talking about 46% likely to develop type 2 diabetes because you're taking a cholesterol lowering drug, which is especially concerning since a major complication of diabetes is heart disease. In contrast, lowering cholesterol levels by making lifestyle changes decreases the risk of both heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Then Dr. Ornish moves on to talk about prostate cancer, and it's very interesting because it's one of the most common cancers in men, besides skin cancer. And most men, if they live long enough, will get prostate cancer. So this is a given. Most men who live long enough into the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s will have it and will die with it. We will die with it. We won't die of it in most cases, but approximately 1/3 of men in their 30s or 40s, one half of men, 50% of men in their 50s and 60s, and 70% of men in their 70s, and 80% of men in their 80s have prostate cancer, even if they're not aware of it. In other words, most men are going to die with prostate cancer, not from prostate cancer. On page 58, he talks about radiation and all these procedures that can make the quality of life miserable. But lifestyle medicine really provides a good alternative. On page 59, Dr. Ornish says, although we have not yet conducted randomized controlled trials on breast cancer, what affects prostate cancer may affect breast cancer as well. As with prostate cancer, it is likely that some aggressive breast cancers with high potential for spreading may require chemotherapy, surgery, and or radiation, whereas others may be safely treated with lifestyle medicine alone. Even when drugs and surgery are indicated, lifestyle medicine may add additional efficacy and reduce the likelihood of recurrence. Of course, there is a time and place for high-tech medicine, and we're never denying that. We've all benefit from it. To be clear, drugs and surgery can be life-saving in a crisis. And in the early stages of treating and reversing chronic diseases, drugs or surgery may be necessary in addition to intensive lifestyle changes, at least at the beginning while your body is healing. And some people may need drugs and or surgery even when they make comprehensive lifestyle changes. Even then, though, we need to address the underlying causes, which are usually lifestyle related and often treatable and even reversible with lifestyle medicine. And that is the end of chapter 3, and we've made it. So I think that these 2 chapters are amazing, and I'm so looking forward to chapter 4 next week. So make sure you read that. And remember the cooking session that we're going to have next Sunday. I will send you. You do have the recipes. You do have the recipes. So let's do this, okay? Let's see here. This is on page 250. We have blueberry oatmeal, country sweet potatoes, tofu vegetable scramble. And if you don't like tofu, we can make it without tofu. Apple spice muffins. Those recipes are for breakfast. They're on page 250, 251, 252, up to page 257. If you want to make them during the week and then tell me how you like it, or if you want to have the ingredients and make it while we're having the cooking session, please do so. And I think we will have a lot of fun. And it feels criminal. This information isn't talked about everywhere. Yeah, I do. I think so. That's what a lot of these doctors are going to tell you, especially Dr. McDougall, who's very outspoken. This is criminal. This is so sad. Medicine that promotes illness. Yes. All right. But we can do something. You and I can. We can start by taking care of ourselves, maybe having people see the change in us and asking and doing all we can to tell others. But I'll tell you that it's often disappointing. Don't feel bad if people don't want to hear this information. All you can do is share it. I will leave you right now with the announcement for the Tea with Dr. T. And I will see you next Sunday then, if I don't see you on Tuesday for tea. Okay, here is the video. Bye bye.